Welcome to Tech Talk Central. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Nathan. Hello, everyone.
We're diving deep today, really zeroing in on something specific for you, the viewer.
Yeah, we want to give you a quick but thorough understanding of the absolute cutting edge in home cinema tech right now.
Exactly. So our mission is to unpack two big contenders for that ultimate 2025 home theater experience. The Sony Bravia 5 versus the Hisense U7.
Mm-hmm.
Both are mini LED, 4K, Google Smart TVs, both pushing Dolby Atmos. But, well, they take pretty different paths to get you that cinematic feel, right?
They really do. Okay, let's unpack this. You've basically got a clash here. It's like refined AI processing versus just sheer hardware muscle.
Okay.
And by the end of this, you should have a much clearer idea which one, fits your needs better, whether that's bright daytime sports or maybe a super dark calibrated movie night.
All right, segment one, visuals. Let's talk immersion. I mean, that cinematic feeling, it really has to start with the picture, doesn't it? Deep blacks, bright highlights.
Absolutely essential, yeah. And if we look at the Sony Bravia 5 first, their whole story revolves around their processing.
The XR processor.
Exactly. The XR processor with AI is not just a standard chip. Think of it as like the brain constantly tweaking color, contrast, clarity, frame by frame in real time.
So even if I'm watching something older, maybe not native 4K, that processor's job is to clean it up, make it look better.
That's a huge part of it. Upscaling, reducing noise with XR Clear Image, handling fast motion smoothly with XR Motion Clarity. It's all processor-driven refinement.
Okay, and the lighting. Mini LEDs need good control.
Right. Sony uses the XR Backlight Master Drive for that. The goal there is really precise, authentic contrast. They're not necessarily chasing the absolute highest peak brightness number, but more visually accurate light control.
Gotcha. And what about color? Sony always talks about their color science.
Yeah, they use XR Triluminos Pro, accessing billions of colors.
Yeah.
But the focus is really on naturalism, getting skin tones right, avoiding that kind of overly bright, oversaturated look, trying to stick to what the director intended.
Okay, so Sony is about refinement and accuracy. Then the Hisense U7 comes in, kind of guns blazing on the specs.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, the Hisense U7 philosophy feels like more is more.
Yeah.
It's got their mini LED Pro Tech, and they're boasting up to 3,000 nits peak brightness.
Wow, 3,000 nits.
And critically, up to 3,000 local dimming zones, too. That sheer number of zones, combined with Full Array Local Dimming Pro, is meant to give really granular control over light.
What does that huge brightness number actually mean for someone watching at home, though?
Well, two main things. First, HDR content, those super bright highlights,
Yeah.
like, explosions or sun reflections. 3,000 nits makes them really pop. It adds impact. Second, it's just practical for bright rooms. If your living room gets a lot of daylight, that kind of brightness can really punch through the ambient light. And the high zone count helps minimize that halo effect around bright objects on dark backgrounds.
But is there a risk? Focusing so much on brightness, does it affect the color subtlety that Sony seems to prioritize?
That's the balancing act.
Yeah.
Hisense tackles that with QLED quantum dot color. And they make a point of saying it's Pantone validated.
The Pantone certification.
Yeah, it's their stamp of approval, basically saying, look, we hit over 1 billion colors accurately. They're trying to pair that massive brightness with true color fidelity. And like Sony, they have their own AI brain, the HiView AI Engine Pro, doing optimizations in the background.
So the key takeaway here, it's kind of a philosophical choice for you, the viewer.
Yeah.
Sony's leaning on its processing for refinement, maybe better for varied content. While Hisense is pushing the hardware limits, brightness zones, color validation for maybe maximum HDR impact.
Exactly. It's refined processing versus raw power. You need to figure out which approach aligns better with how and what you watch.
Okay, that makes sense for the picture. But sound is like half the experience, right? Bad sound just ruins it.
Oh, totally. Both these TVs support Dolby Atmos, which is great. But how they deliver it?
Yeah.
Yeah, quite different.
Right. So if you want that immersive sound without buying a separate soundbar, what's the Sony Bravia 5 doing?
Sony's approach is called acoustic multi-audio. It's quite clever. They use sound positioning tweeters built into the TV's frame.
Tweeters in the frame.
Yeah. The idea is to make the sound feel wider and, importantly, taller than the TV itself. So the sound seems to come from where the action is happening on screen, like vertically matched.
So that relies a lot on processing and maybe psychoacoustics rather than just pointing speakers upwards?
It does. And maybe a benefit of that processing focus is the format support. Sony handles both Dolby Atmos and DTSX.
Oh, DTSX too. That's less common on TVs themselves.
Right. It's another object-based format, like Atmos. Some prefer it. Plus, Sony has Voice Zoom 3, which specifically boosts dialogue clarity. Super helpful for complex movie soundtracks.
Okay, Sony's clever processing. And the Hisense U7. They seem to be going for a more direct hardware solution for Atmos height.
That's the interesting part. The Hudson C7 has a built-in 2.1.2 channel speakers system.
2.1.2. Okay, break that down.
So 2 is your standard left and right stereo channels. The point 1 is a built-in subwoofer for bass. And the final point 2, that's 2 dedicated up-firing speakers built into the top or back of the TV.
Ah, so actual speakers pointing up to bounce sound off the ceiling.
Exactly. It's the classic physical way to get that Dolby Atmos height effect integrated right into the TV. No processing tricks needed for the height dimension, just physical drivers doing the work.
So for you listening, the choices. Hisense gives you that physical 2.1.2 setup out of the box. It's an integrated Atmos starting point. Whereas Sony uses clever audio positioning with those tweeters, plus broader format support like DTS:X. It's more about matching sound to the picture location.
It really is integrated physical hardware versus sophisticated processing and positioning. And, worth noting, both are IMAX Enhanced certified too, meeting those high standards for picture and sound.
Okay, picture and sound covered. But these premium TVs, they offer more, right? Like gaming features, streaming integrations. The whole ecosystem matters.
Absolutely. That's often where the real value difference comes in, depending on how you'll use the TV. Let's start with the movie side. Sony's got that Sony Pictures Core thing.
Right. What's the deal with that exactly?
Well, for movie buffs, it's pretty neat. Buying a Bravia 5 gets you movie credits for some new releases on their app, plus 12 months of unlimited streaming of older Sony classics.
Okay, free movies are nice.
But maybe more importantly for cinephiles, Sony has specific studio-calibrated picture modes for Netflix, for Prime Video, and for their own Sony Pictures Core service. Meaning, when you watch content on those apps, the TV automatically switches to settings designed to perfectly match the creator's intended look, color, contrast, motion, everything. It's about preserving that original vision.
Okay, Sony's focused on creator intent. The Hisense U7, though, seems to be playing the field, focusing on supporting all the formats.
That's right. Hisense pushes what they call their total HDR solution, which is important because, let's face it, there are a lot of HDR formats out there.
Tell me about it. HDR10, Dolby Vision.
Exactly. So the Hisense U7 is designed to handle pretty much all of them. You've got your standard HDR10, HLG for broadcast, HDR10 plus adaptive, Dolby Vision IQ, even advanced HDR by Technicolor.
Wait, Dolby Vision IQ, how's that different from regular Dolby Vision?
Good question. Dolby Vision IQ uses a light sensor built into the TV. It measures the ambient light in your room and dynamically adjusts the HDR picture so it looks optimal for your specific viewing conditions. Brighter room, it'll adjust so you don't lose shadow detail.
Oh, clever.
Yeah. And the Hisense also includes Filmmaker mode, which does a similar job to Sony's calibrated modes, turns off processing, keeps original aspect ratio, frame rate, color, etc.
Okay, now, gaming. This is where things seem to really diverge. Sony's clearly got one console in its sights.
Oh, absolutely. The Bravia 5 is tailor-made for the PlayStation 5. It has exclusive features like auto HDR tone mapping and auto genre picture mode. Basically, the PS5 and the TV talk to each other to optimize settings automatically, plus a dedicated game menu for quick access. And it runs at a solid 120 Hz.
Which is great for consoles, but the Hisense U7? It seems to be aiming higher, maybe more for the PC gaming crowd.
Definitely feels that way. The U7 is positioned as a sports and gaming beast. It starts with a native 165 Hz panel.
165 Hz native. Okay.
And then with variable refresh rate, or VRR, it supports up to a crazy 288 Hz.
288.
Yeah. That's serious high refresh rate territory, targeting high-end PC gamers looking for that super smooth motion and competitive edge. It also have AMD FreeSync Premium Pro support and an enhanced game bar for tweaking settings on the fly.
Now, that 288 Hz VRR is impressive on paper, but for you watching at home, unless you have a very high-end gaming PC, maybe not a huge practical difference over 120 or 165 Hz.
Potentially, yeah. It's definitely pushing the envelope. But the Hisense does have another feature that's maybe more broadly useful, anti-reflection technology.
Oh, that sounds practical.
It really is. It's designed to minimize glare from windows or room lights. So, less struggling to see the screen during daytime sports or less annoying reflections during dark scenes in movies or games makes it a really strong contender for brighter, non-dedicated viewing rooms.
Okay, wow. This has really laid out the two different approaches, hasn't it? The Sony Bravia 5 It feels like it's about that integrated, refined experience, top-tier AI processing, focus on creator intent, perfect pairing for PS5 users.
Yeah, authenticity and intelligent enhancement seem to be Sony's keywords.
And then the Hisense U7 is just pushing the raw specs hard.
Yeah.
That massive brightness, the high zone count, the crazy fast refresh rates for gaming, wide HDR support, plus that physical 2.1.2 Atmos setup built in.
It's definitely maximizing the hardware performance. Great for gamers, sports fans, or anyone whose room isn't a perfectly dark cinema cave.
So, connecting this all back, both TVs use amazing tech, mini LED, Dolby Atmos. But they're aiming for slightly different kinds of perfect, maybe, which leads to a final thought for you, the viewer, to consider.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing these top-tier TVs with features like 3,000 nits and anti-glare screens designed explicitly to work well in imperfect environments like bright rooms. Does this mean the whole idea of the true cinematic experience is actually shifting, moving away from replicating a dark cinema and more towards optimizing the view for your actual home environment?
That's a really interesting point. Is technology adapting the cinematic ideal to fit our real lives instead of forcing us to recreate the perfect cinema environment at home? Something to think about.
Definitely something to mull over. We really hope this deep dive helped you cut through the specs and understand the core differences quickly and thoroughly.
And hey, if you're looking for the latest prices or deals on either of these TVs, definitely check out the links we've put in the description below.
Yeah, please do. And if you enjoyed this discussion and want more tech deep dives like this, please subscribe to our channel, Tech Talk Central.
We'd appreciate it. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.